I'm one of those.
You're one of those. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so they can show it to them.
Yeah. Well, look, y'all, thanks for asking us to come around. My name is Rick Smith. I'm actually kind of semi-retired now, but I'm still doing a ton of negotiations, etc. I was the chief of staff and an organizer for the Florida Public Service Union that's part of SEIU. A little later here, ask me questions about that. I mean, really what we're here today is to hear what you guys have to say. What are the problems? To ask questions of us. How do we do things? How do we run things, etc. We've got great people from PSTA.
Let them introduce themselves. These are the board members. Some of them could come today. April Murphy.
I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to know you guys. Why don't we start right there? And tell you what, give your name and why are you here?
I'm Vera. I've been at HART for almost 5 years, and all I see is we need something new, something different. We not, or I can only speak for me. I feel like I'm not important for HART anyways. So if I have anything going on, I want to feel like that the union is representing me in my. If I needed something done, I can go to the union and say, yeah, I need this done. But right now, when we ask where we at, what's going on, we can't say, I don't know. And you're supposed to work for us, not for her itself, for us. So and I just feel like I need support. And I keep hearing about PSTA. They stick up with their people. They stand up for their workers. They take care of their workers.
We take care of our members.
Right, and that's what I need. I want support. If I have something going on, I want them to listen and do what they can.
Thank you. My name is Ronald Cordova. Everybody knows me. I've been with HART almost 27 years, and I'm in the way out, guys. The reason why I'm here is things can get better. I'm about to retire, and I could have a different attitude and say, I'm leaving next year. You guys take care. I don't care. And that's the wrong attitude to have it. But they're still my co-workers, and I don't know what they're going through. And the experience that we had is not the local that helps out. They do a good job. It's just that we don't have the support from the international. But don't get me wrong, the local that works for the ATU, they do a good job. They're trying to do the best, but they're empty hands. They know they don't have the support from ATU for the international, so they tie with a big fish hard with them but they do good. I got nothing against them. They do what they can. But if they would have the international support, when there's a negotiation, a labor lawyer comes in and help them out. We never negotiated with a labor in the history of the ATU. Always negotiated by international, not a labor like the Teamsters do. When they have a contract, they get the labor on it. They get the labor lawyer on it to deal with the big fish against the big fish. But we don't have that, and we never had it. Okay, it's going to be 27 years. You guys, most of you guys were never here. Maybe when a long time ago, and it's the local does the best they can. But they can't do the job because they don't have the support for the international. So I feel for them because they do what they can. But when you're dealing with a big fish, see, I given them an example. If I have a licensed contractor and I go to your house, at my worst, you're not going to understand my word because I'm a licensed contractor and you're not. But if another licensed contractor says to me at the table and I'm there, we both spoke the same language. So they cannot mess me around, you know what I mean? And the same thing with this here. When you're negotiating, when you go on the table, you need a labor lawyer that knows what he's doing. I mean, you get in the funds, you can pay a lawyer, and we never had that.
Is that the same thing here?
Hold on. We had it when Vanessa was here.
Yeah, the labor lawyer. We got the lawyer then.
Yeah, we had it then. You're supposed to always have a lawyer in there when you go through negotiations.
And that's what it is. But to me,
between a fine print.
yeah, and to me,
Here's some chairs up here,
right here.
y'all. If you could grab them and put them where.
For my age, I'm about to leave next year if I want to. So, but I wanted just to help, whatever I can help with my coworkers, if they can get a better future, if they can get a better.
Thank you so much. I know you're Gummy, but you want to say why you're here?
They call me Gummy. I'm here because been with HART for 7 years. There's been union turmoil from day one. There's never been peace, there's never been agreement, there's never been proper communication. And 2 years ago, when we ended up in trusteeship, it got even worse. The reason why we're in trusteeship is very wild to me, but that's another story. So I believe things can be better. That's why I'm still paying my dues to the. I'm still pay every pay period. I pay my dues because I'm a firm believer in unions. I just don't believe in what's going on right now. So I'm looking for change.
Thank you.
Hello, yes, hey, I'm Eric Anderson. I'm Chief Maintenance Steward at HART. I'm just here to listen to people. You know, I'm concerned. You know, I try to do my best to take my free time to talk to a lot of employees, and I try to give them the best information I can. So I'm here to get the information and see where the people go, and if wherever that goes, I'll have the information to continue to inform the members and all the employees and communicate the best I can. As only one person, it's hard to do, but you know, I'm just here to listen.
I'm really glad to hear you say that too, and you came well spoken of, by the way.
Thank you.
My name's Daniel. I'm one of the bus operators. Frankly, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, so I'm kind of from Union Central, for lack of a better
I
term.
can tell we have the same accent.
I've seen unions since I can remember. Not really happy with some of the things I've seen. I have nothing against any of the members of the ATU. I've had no problem with any of our stewards or anybody individually, but the lack of communication, and it's time to see if there's other options. It'd be stupid not to check for options.
Absolutely.
I'm Tim Mathias. I've been at the HART for 19 years. I agree with him. Everybody else, I don't have a problem with the local members, the stewards and everything. They do a great job as best they can. I'm just here for information. I'm not really sure either way.
Thank you.
I view this as like insurance. Better to have it and not need, and need and not have it. So I'm checking to see what the options are.
Cool. Got the women back there.
Sharon
Either
Williams.
one.
I'm
you
just
go.
here for info too. Just wanna know.
Sure.
Angela, I've been with HART for going on 5 years, and I can just piggyback off of everybody else. Just wanting to know information, wanting to make sure that we have somebody that has our back, and, you know, that can stand for us, find out what's really going on, and give us information and let us know, instead of being told this and that. And you have a group of people, and it should be one story, but you have 5 different stories about the same thing. So it's just wanting to know, getting the truth, getting the information.
Thank you.
My name is Gabrielle. I've been with HART for 6 years. This is my second ATU because I've driven in Virginia for 13 years. And experiencing with ATUs, my experience with ATU in Virginia was very weak. And I moved down here to Florida, and it's still the same weakness that I experienced when I was with the ATU in Virginia. And I'm just looking for information and want something stronger and better for us. Because we have to unite, we have to come together. I have no problem with any of the people that's on the union board or anything. They're doing their job well. I understand they can only do what they can do. But now it's time for something better, and I'm just a little ready for a change.
Thank you.
My name is Alexia Prince. I'm here for information also too.
My name is Clinton Stokes. I'm here for information. About to compare, see the options that we have.
Couple chairs.
My name is Alfonso Morgan. I'm here for information also. I've been a member of HART for about 4 years now. I've been a union member at Kansas City, Missouri, a very strong union for over 7 years before I came down here. I just want to see what's going on, see what everybody's talking about.
Jonathan Beckman, over here 11 years.
I've been here for over 15 years. I was a proud union member. I haven't been in the union probably about 10 years because I don't see any leadership. I don't have a problem with nobody, with Yolanda, none. I have no problem with them. But we need somebody that's strong. You know, we need somebody strong. And I'm here to see how y'all contract, how y'all negotiate y'all contract versus how they negotiate HART's contract. And the last leadership I seen was Vanessa Brown. Everybody know her, and I seen leadership in her. And I just don't see it now.
Coleman Williams, I've been an employee of HART for 18 years. I'm currently not a union member. I was at one point, I was a clerk at one point. I know there's a lot to overcome here in Florida because it is right work state. However, we have drivers here who've been here for years. We've seen things that have gone on in the past. We have leadership now who aren't open to listening to those things that have happened in the past so that you don't make the same mistakes. Okay, we don't get information on what's really going on. Okay, it seems like all workings are behind the scenes. There's no disclosure on finances, or anything of that nature.
No transparency.
No transparency, exactly.
That's illegal.
It seems like HART just does whatever they want to do. They don't adhere to the contract, and there are a lot of things that should be disputed that aren't. You know, that's the way I see it.
Thank you. Senator Fluker, I'm just here to listen and to hear the questions that are being asked and go to the next meeting and see if some of those questions are being answered by our actual union. So just trying to, you know,
I'm
learn
good
what-
you're going to the meeting later today. I think that's a great idea.
to learn what I don't know.
There's some chairs, if anything, just brought some chairs.
Clayton, I've been here about 12 years. I want to see a change. I was on the board of March, the main board, so we got women trustees. Some things is not right. We need to put right.
This is me. I've been here 14 years, so we can just go ahead and move on to the questions that you need to hear on how they handle the PSPA contract so fast. Okay? Oh, they got Louis. Good work, how you doing? Good morning, everybody. My name is Mr. Louis Garcia. I've been with HART for 20 years. I was an ex-financial secretary for this local, ATU 1593. I did it for about 2 to 3 years. A lot has changed. Since there's no communication going on as an ex-financial secretary, I know there was a monthly report that had to be done. I had to do every month. I haven't seen one of those in I don't know how long. Where's my money's going? It's everybody's money. It's not just ours, you know, it's everybody's money, and we need to know as where's our money going. No communication. People were voted in as appointees. How they were chosen, I don't know who who said you and you. Okay.
You all didn't have to say
We didn't have to say so.
We're on the trustee.
No experience.
I know. but
No experience.
still, you have to say so for every-
Contract negotiation, we don't have no one there that's experienced with negotiating. You know, everything has, I go, I learn, and then you just keep putting this into the negotiation, and I think we need to change. I mean, it's just going worse, and it's just.
There's
I'm
a
here,
couple.
I'm just here to get information, and hopefully.
My name is Johnny Rivera, I've been here 4 years. We need somebody to stand up to HART, somebody that has a heart and be upfront with us. No secrets, no he said, she said, just come up and tell us black and white, this is what's going on. When the negative, we're doing good, we're doing bad. Somebody that keep HART in line to abide the contract. Because they'll abide the SOP before the contract, and that's not like that.
I have a question. Who's a qualified trainer?
I stopped.
For, training the drivers, the new drivers. That's the problem, right? There's we're divided, because why are people still training and HART still doing the same thing over and over and over? We shouldn't train at all.
Then why didn't you told me that?
They told you.
I didn't know nothing. So I went to class.
They've been telling everybody to stop training. Stop training. Stop it. Stop it. I ain't nothing to tell you.
Side issue. Okay, look, you guys, here, let me make a statement here, because right now I'm representing SEIU and their FPSU, which FPSU is a statewide local of public sector employees in Florida. So we represent about 34,000 people. That's who comprises this local. That would be like on this side, PSTA, Hillsborough Community College, City of St. Pete, School Board, Pinellas, and then we go out all over the state. We don't normally do this. We did here. We had a history at PSTA, and then there were some bad things that happened, a little bit of corruption, a little bit of this and that. Some of the same things that you were all saying. They were an independent union. It wasn't a big deal. And there was just, the leadership that came from out of there is just absolutely tremendous. That's how we were able to just turn this around, literally within 4 days. And boom, we got into contract negotiations and did great. And we'll talk about how we do that kind of thing. But look, HEU is a fine union. Just like any other union, they have locals, you know. So, and I know people in HEU that are fantastic, right? And just like in SEIU, there's some good locals, there's some locals that aren't so good, et cetera, et cetera. I'm glad people are paying dues. I know some aren't. Any union is better than no union. It's a fact of the matter. So, like I said, we don't normally do this, but we started getting a whole lot of talk and calls here. And why, let me tell you why this interested us. To win in Florida, right to work state, you can't strike. All bus drivers know things you can do to put a little leverage on. Okay, good, I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But the main thing that you have to have, and the main thing that we tried to build up, two things. Community support. In other words, we're out working in the neighborhoods and in the communities to say, your neighbors here work for HART or PSTA, et cetera. Why do we do that? Because we live in those neighborhoods, right? Number one, you're not a worker, you're not a HART worker 24 hours a day. You gotta go home. Mm-hmm. And so what's the situation in your neighborhood at home? It makes a real difference to do that kind of community organizing, and we're really good at it. But really why we do that, that's a reason to do it, is for political power. That was the secret sauce at PSTA. Every time that we got into contention at the bargaining table, this has happened several times, or something happened that was disastrous, like when the unfortunate happened at HART and the driver, you know what I'm talking about. Thomas. Right. Bam, we went immediately and got that situation changed at the board, because at the board, you know, there's 12 representatives there. 8 of them are our very good friends who we campaign for, and we do all this to have political power to win. If you don't have that kind of relationship with your board members, it makes it so much harder to get a kind of contract that you need. So we have an emphasis on that kind of thing. Now, having that political and community operation, we have community organizers, we have political organizers, we have the whole boat. Here is how we're really organized. So you have this 34,000, I keep forgetting because we just organized 10,000 people in the last year. Which, you see the bags under my eyes when doing contracts. In this past week, I had to be over in Miami-Dade, Broward County doing contracts. Yeah, I would never live there, I gotta tell you that. Anyways, here's how we're structured. So each particular organized unit becomes what's called a chapter. They elect their leadership. They make their own rules. I mean, we have a constitution that they can't go against in the chapters, but they're autonomous. You guys, when something happens bad, they're mostly dealing with it themselves, and along with April, who works for the local. The money is centralized, so the dues come in, goes into one pot from the 32,000 people. That way is when there is when we need to do political work in any place in the state, boom, it's going there. We have an executive board composed of all the chapters. We have 2 members, PSTA has 2 members on that, they're not here today. Because they're making money.
More than 2.
There's more than 2.
No, I mean on the
Executive.
on the FDS.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of how we function. Is like, we know you're going to be the smartest about how to deal with your own situation. We got a guy like Eric, and I've heard about you. You know what's happening. You know how to communicate back, handling it. I come in, or somebody else comes in, when the problem gets really hot, or contract time, or emergencies. Other than that, people run their own thing, because workers should run their own organizations. I'm not a bus driver, so I wouldn't even be pretentious of it, but I know all about it, and I know how to do the contract and everything, but the real leadership comes from here. So like I said, this is not something normally that we do, and I've missed my whole point there. The reason why we're interested in this is, you know what? There really could, whether ATU stays, whether this doesn't even get off the ground, it doesn't matter. There should be a point here, and we think that politically it's a viable point, where the 2, HART and PSTA, could actually negotiate at the same time. Because you know down the road that's coming anyway.
We've been pushing for it.
Yeah, the state is pushing for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense to me is that, look, contracts have followed each other for years, right? I think PSTA is a little bit ahead right now. But they still follow each other. It's the same, covered under the same, you know, Tampa Bay. The political winds say at some point these agencies are going to merge. Why don't we start doing and bargaining for everybody at the same time? I think it makes sense, right? So that's kind of the interest that we have in this, no matter how this, you know, this is really just an organizational meeting. So let me take some questions now.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can you answer some?
I'll go through that. Yes, there's some things that are true, some things not quite so true. Number 1, state of Florida is an at-will employment state, yes. We all know that, blah, 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 and your union contract is you, so that's absolutely true. We know that. once the union is decertified, the current contract is terminated. Not true. But that's still in the process of being bargained, even if, now if it was a strict decertification where you just said, we're just throwing out a union, we don't want a union, that would be the case.
What you guys are doing? What is it then? What are you doing? Why are you doing it
Oh,
now?
I'm saying is that, because you guys like called us in, so.
We didn't call you in.
Well,
No,
you
you
two didn't,
didn't.
but.
I don't
many
know, I don't know,
drivers did.
I mean, we've gotten lots of
I'm
calls.
talking to him.
Yeah,
I'm
well, I'm
asking
talking
him.
to all of you.
You're not talking to
Many
me.
drivers did call.
You're not
us.
talking to me. I'm
I
talking
am.
to
Do you
the
hear me?
speaker.
If you hear
Well,
me.
thank you.
talking,
Let me finish
You
this.
heard me though, right?
Let me finish the
Now you got
question.
an answer.
That's the thing though, why you gotta have an attitude?
Look, I was talking to him. She has no reason to intervene.
So if this was a decertification to say we don't want a union. No, I'm talking.
Okay, thank you.
That's pretty smart.
I appreciate
If there was a decertification that, and you do see these where it says, we just don't want a union anymore, then you got nothing, then you are back to number one.
So that's what they're trying to do.
No.
Well, no, what people have asked
Yeah,
us
whoever called you.
is to, they say, we want a new union. Now, like,
So it is, so tell them the truth. Tell them that we will be without a contract for a whole year. Tell them the truth, please.
no, it isn't. We would
Okay.
begin negotiations right away.
Right. You have to wait a whole year.
No, you. Okay, whatever.
We started.
I mean, we did this at the FDA, we were in negotiations.
Open your ears. Yes, it's a scare tactic.
Yeah, this is the misinformation. This is what I'm talking about.
Now, here's the question. Does a contract then have to be negotiated from scratch?
Yes.
Well, HART could say, yeah, we want to do this and this and this. But, and I can't predict that for 100%. If HART would say, let's just start from scratch. We pretty much did.
Right.
Because we wanted to change
Yeah,
everything.
you change certain things.
We wanted to change almost everything in the contract.
But you iron out.
We did.
You're under the same contract, and then you usually just pick off.
So the contract that we're under right now, that has expired for over a year, still stays, and you will represent us under that contract until we have a new contract. Thank you.
And negotiations would begin almost immediately.
Exactly.
For a new contract. Now, here's what is true. A new contract does need to be negotiated, obviously, of course. There's no reason to do this unless that happens, right? And number one, I don't want to get into, I learned a long time ago. I've been doing this for 44 years. I've negotiated hundreds of contracts. I do not criticize anybody's contract negotiations if I'm not in the room. So we're not going to go there on that. I just don't know. Let me finish this and then I'll get to you, okay? By the way, you made some tremendous speeches. The process of getting this, if this is a decision, and this is a decision you gotta make, and it's also a decision that we have to make. We have to see because why would we get into a big fight if it didn't look like it was gonna go? You know what I'm saying? So the process would be, there's a certain kind of card that you fill out, says I want to be represented by whatever union you're talking to, Teamsters, whatever, us, whatever. The official process says you have to get 30% of the people to get the vote. I don't like that 30%, because if you have 30%, you're gonna lose. Likely, and there's some situations where you can kind of figure out that you have momentum, but that's not a good place to start from. Anyways, that's down the road, right? Here is the deal. Number 5, and we found this out at PSTA, because it's going to be another contract, there's no such thing as retro pay. So that is correct. So there is some, I mean, you're eligible for a shit ton of retro pay now, right? How long has it been?
A year, little over.
Okay, so that probably might be one of the big tie-ups in the contract, I don't know. But that is correct, because this would be brand new, there is no retro contract to go to. And we have that experience. We made up for it with winning quite a lot of money anyway. But that's PSTA, that's not HART. Okay, HART, go ahead.
I know what you're talking about because I'm a certified organizer by the SEIU. So I know exactly the process of what you guys are doing, but I want to ask you a question. If SEIU is willing to give us in writing that accepting liability for any financial loss to any HART employee, whether they join the union or not, can you guys give us that in writing?
You mean to give a guarantee that you're gonna get so much money in a contract?
No. Any loss that we'll have within that period of time while you guys are doing what you're trying to do to any of us, either we in the union or not. I want to know your
She's
response.
talking about representation. I don't think she's talking about money. I think she's talking about representation. So would you?
There would be a representation would be.
No, and money. No, I'm talking about money too.
So you're talking about the contract, that's where
No,
the money
I'm
is.
talking about if any of us get fired, because that's what's gonna start happening. Especially
Because
us, the
HART
senior
is evil,
drivers.
right?
Yeah, especially us, the senior drivers. I want it in writing, if you guys can give it to us. You guys have liability to represent us, because once that happens, the lawyers and everything is on you guys. That's why.
Let me give you an example from.
What she's trying to say?
Yeah, I get it.
Trying to say.
See, you're talking about somebody gets fired in this interim period. Let me give you an example. This happened at PSTA.
We did that too.
It happened at PSTA. In fact, we sent somebody to arbitration before it was over, before the vote actually happened. We did 2 arbitrations at PSTA.
So we're gonna
paying dues, you know. So that's on that. I definitely would write a guarantee. I wanted to make clear what, but this isn't about. Yes, once you're there, once you're represented, we have to represent you. It's the same under law.
In the process, because it's a whole process. It's a whole process, and I know the process. Again, I'm a FSCIO certified organizer.
And I've been 44 years doing this.
I know that when we did T-Ban Wu, you know how you and I represented the people during the transition? That's what she's talking about. Yeah, we did.
Are you guys liable for what we're gonna lose?
Well, we're
Time, fees,
absolutely.
lawyers, all that.
It's actually once that's in there, we have a legal obligation to do that. You could sue if you had a case and you're represented by it.
Okay, so one question.
In the process.
Okay. What?
Yes, what I'm saying, once that election is over, there's a legal obligation to represent the members.
So day one, there's a vote. There's an election. We want to have no union. We want to have ATU, or we want to have SEIU.
Yeah, which
we
is
vote.
another small danger.
Yeah.
There.
The next thing. Let's say you win that election. That means we start paying you dues right away, right? Or pretty much right away.
No, you wouldn't pay dues till there was a contract.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd get free representation. We did that.
So.
We're gonna have that in writing.
So day after you. So you are going to be the active union as soon as that election is over. That we have a new active. So after the election, you won the election. Right then, even until the contract is, you are the acting union. You will represent us from day one.
Yeah, right after the
Perfect.
election.
So all you're saying is that if from the ATU to you guys, there's not going to be a gap where we're going to be.
There will be a gap in negotiating a new contract. I think
Just-
about retro
I
days.
understand
That's
that. I
correct.
understand negotiating a new contract. What I'm saying is, there's not a gap where we won't fall under the umbrella of one union. There's going to be either the ATU or you guys.
Yes,
There's not
one
gonna
or
be-
the other.
Okay,
You
so
will
we're not
never
gonna-
be without
We're
it.
not going to be left out there.
That would be crazy if I wouldn't even be.
I understand it, but
Like I said, even if you're, I mean, I'm not saying this, but if you had the worst union in the world, you need to be in it. You know?
Well, I think what needs to be said is that we have to know that there will be coverage even if we decide to go for one union.
Absolutely. Get out your guarantee. I'll sign that one.
100% of the
No,
time.
I need a from you guys. There's nothing for you to
Yes, so
sign
that's
for me.
correct.
Over here, please.
Yes.
My name is Robert Knight. I've been with us for going on 16 years. We understand why we are all here today. we're here to hear what you have to offer. We know about the ATU, we've been in the ATU. A lot of questions is being asked like we're naive to the union. We're not. The reason why we're here is to find out if your union is better than the ATU. Because whatever is going on in the ATU, with whatever contract negotiation or whatever they're doing, we're here for something different, something better. Whoever is gonna be all playing naive, if we're leaving from one union, we know we was in a union, so we know the process. People are gonna pretend like, oh, we're just gonna come to you and then everything is gonna be good. No, we are going through a process. So all the questions that's been asked, like we're already signing up with you, we're not. We're just here seeing what's going on.
So let me try to answer that or give a clearer view of that. And actually, these guys would need to come in right after me. So what's the difference? I'm not quite sure. I don't, that's what I'm trying to find out from you guys. How do they function? When a contract comes up, do they get everybody together and put together? I'm sure they do. These are the things that we're going for. You get some kind of survey or something, right? Or a big meeting and you write up on the board. You form committees on all of these things, right?
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, that's usually how people do it. I didn't know. So this is kind of, I'm telling you how we operate, right? So contracts are the most important time, right? We get people together. God, this process went on for like 3 months, and there were 500 things on the board we want to change. You're not going to get 500 things, so you drive it down and figure out what are the most important things. Some's always money, but there's other things and unique things that these guys, like these guys put into the contract, like guess what? On scheduling, guess who has the power?
Scheduling.
They do. Wow. They can't make any move without our committee saying, they're like, no, you can't do that. And so it becomes negotiations over all that. But those were kind of new things for me. That's why, and I'll get to you guys, that's why these are the things we do different. It's very democratic, it's very open, there's elections all the time when stewards come out, and some of this isn't any different than what you have, but stewards got to go through training. Yeah. Then they get certified, blah, 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 and then they get elected. I'm going to take you, and I'll get you.
I basically feel that what it is that we want a union. When you make a contract, it has to be all aspects. And it has to take care of a new driver coming in all the way to a senior driver. And it seems like sometimes when negotiation is being done, it's for the senior person or it's for this one at the time, who's ever sitting there. We need a contract that's going to cover you from the time you get hired to the time you want to retire.
Let me answer that one. When we negotiate our contract, we have somebody from every phase. We have newbies, junior drivers, whatever you want to call them. We have maintenance when we talk about their stuff. So our negotiations are like that. It's represented from the time you get in the door. So we just got longevity.
Because we knew one of the biggest divisions that happens, particularly in transit. So a new driver at one point is coming in at $11 an hour, and then you have people up here who deserve every penny, every senior person at the end. Ours is what, 4.5 years?
4.5 years. We negotiated, it used to be 5 years.
But I knew there were going to be divisions unless the senior people, so basically in the first contract, the senior people said, no more, those new people coming in are gonna be paid $15 an hour, we raised them by $4 an hour, and still got a raise for everybody else. The second time around, they're saying, well, we need to get a little for us this time, and that's how it works. I mean, you cannot divide people by seniority.
Yeah, that creates division automatically.
Yes. That's what HART do, create division. And they file for the okey-dokey.
Well, look, the employer is always gonna be bad, the employer is always gonna be evil. It's how you react to the employer, right? Now, the thing about lawyers, because I'm gonna give you some bad news here. No, we don't use lawyers because it's not a legal process. In fact, PSTA wanted to start out with their lawyer. They were like, get them out of the room. This is not a legal thing. This is a thing about people working together and doing it. So it's not like they have any special idea about how to negotiate or any knowledge about your work and what you do. I'm not bad-mouthing lawyers. My wife is one. I bad-mouth her.
We had a union attorney when we were at T-Bat-Woo, and he didn't do any good. I mean, he spent a lot of money. Nobody knows the contract, nobody knows what you need, what you want, except you all.
And then I'm there to help because whatever it's worth, I have experience at a lot of this. We go through things together, and then if I gotta make the phone call to the politicians, we sit on the board. It's the easiest thing to do. I have the easiest job. It's like, you know what's happening. So, do you guys have a union office right there?
No. They took it away.
And that would be something to get back in the new contract.
Hey, excuse me, let me have your attention, please, right now. We got our union president that just walked in, Mr. Leon.
Hey, I just want to say something real quick. I mean, we can go all, to me personally, we go all day about the legal and all this other stuff. When we had T-Back over there, it couldn't be fixed. We tried to fix it, get new people in positions, we tried, it wouldn't work. So we had to do something, we made a change. When we made the change, we appointed positions so we can get everything covered. So y'all work here.
Say it again, say that word again, appointed, right?
Lawyers?
Say it again.
No.
Can you let him
No,
finish
they were
first?
elected.
Oh, no, I just want him to repeat that word.
But elected, we got, let me trade with terminology. So I'm trying not to be legal about this, I'm just speaking out freely. That's what I'm doing, speaking out freely how I would, that's what I got part of. Cause I got tired of stuff being, all messed up. So I got involved. You know what I'm saying? My mom always told me something, so you can't keep complaining about something unless you get involved.
Thank
You know what I'm saying? So I got involved. So once we got all that situated, we got the other union in here, we have, voted, got people in positions, you know what I'm saying? We got low end, middle end, high end, seniority people, low end, so all those communicate together. It's not no one person decision. It's the whole board decision when we make a decision.
And many times before we make a board decision, we do surveys to get your
surveys to the
decision.
people, what y'all think.
So you communicate.
So that's all it is. I mean, this y'all, it seemed like y'all going through the same thing that we was going through, like the communication. I mean, making decisions, not talking to y'all about it, you know what I'm saying?
We're on the trustee.
Recently, all of that started.
You know what I'm saying? So all
Recently.
and now, like I said.
Communication is free. You should have communication from the
We have an in-house,
I've been
like I
here for
said,
9 years,
E-Board.
it's been going on.
Now, what explained to me was, you said y'all E-Board got thrown out, right? Y'all have like a little trustee board or something?
We're on the trustee.
They got threw out, right? So now just, well, these two people, I guess, make decisions for all y'all?
No.
What?
Pretty much. Wrong.
Pretty much, yeah. That's not true.
That's
I'm
not
just
true.
answering the question, that's it, just say, answer the question, because I'm trying to figure out.
We have a trustee and he makes the decision.
You make the wrong.
Because we're on the trustee.
You all should make the decision.
From international.
Why we trustee? Because one of our co-workers.
I have to say, as him being an ex-president, he should know what's going on. But what I'm saying, we're under trusteeship. We're under trusteeship because of some people.
Yes.
Right, they are, yeah, we heard
Yeah.
about that. But what your people are saying though, whether you're under trustee or not, they still
We're-
have no.
yes, and we're under-
I don't know what you guys do, so I'm not knocking you either. I don't know how you guys do your stuff. But no matter what, the people decide everything. It should be you should be pleasing your members.
That's right.
Well, Mike.
I'm just trying to, I'm not trying to
We're
figure
not
out.
trying to-
I'm not finished
2 months.
Well, tell
So
them
what
why
can I
we
do?
trustee.
Hey, just 2 months.
Let him talk, and then you guys come
For
back.
2 months, so what can I do? We was trustee because of the prior administration.
Yes. Now blaming him.
The lady
Lie.
from
Wait a
the
minute.
internet
Lie.
came down and told everybody why we
Lies.
was trustee.
Lies.
Okay? All right?
So why are we in trustee?
We are on the trustee because when
Because of Danny.
No, because the
Because of
election, when the process of the election with Danny and him went wrong, some things were done wrong, and they told him, and he knows that, they told him, you need to make the election again, because that's what the members asked for.
Okay, there's a
And
statement from the
somebody-
International. Danny.
And somebody decided not to do it, and that's why our RBP was sent here. When he came in here, he saw something different, which I don't have that information, but I know what I.
Okay, so this is the real reason why we was trustee. They had a meeting. She wasn't there. I was there at the hearing that they had for trusteeship. She wasn't there. So I know why we trustee. The audit came down and told them that, you know, we back paid in the lawyer's fees and no per capita is being paid, and that's why we trustee.
What else?
And for her answer with the election, we was gonna have an election, but Larry wrote me a letter stating, hold off the election until the audit is done, okay? That's why we didn't have.
There's a state.
Here, hold on, everybody hold on for a minute. We're not here to blame anybody why you're here. The problem is you're here.
That's
These
right.
people call, they wanna know what their options are.
But
You said,
we
let
here-
me finish.
but we
Let me
here
finish.
because they're mad.
Can you sit down and let me finish?
They're mad at what we
You
do.
talk way too much. Just let me finish. I'm trying to say, let me talk. We're letting you guys talk.
Well, don't disrespect me.
I asked you to stop talking for a second. Let me finish. You're interrupted nonstop.
Amen.
Just let me say, I don't want to bash anybody. We're not here for you guys to bash each other. We're not bad. We don't
Not
want
to
that.
interrupt,
All right,
we're
let
just
me.
trying to say to the members, why are we in this position? When he was the president, why he didn't take this same initiative?
Why he didn't start this?
I don't
know. We can't go back. We're here now for whatever reason.
Let's start back.
Wait a second. Just let's go right on and just talk and what the options are. That's what we don't want
We here to move forward. I don't want to know what happened.
Can I say?
Why? I want to move forward. That's what
I want to say something. Okay, Yolanda, Danny, I have nothing against you guys. Honestly, I don't. Okay? But we are coming here to just hear what the people are saying. Now, with the bickering that y'all got going on with Mike, with whatever happened and however things went, that should be going on in the other meeting.
Amen.
That should not be going on here. Wait a minute, Yolanda. Give me an opportunity, okay? Now, y'all are interrupting the people. We just want to hear what they have to say. We're not coming out. We're not signing no papers. We're not making no decisions and whatnot. We just want to hear what they have to say. Give them that opportunity. And then y'all have y'all say at y'all meeting at 1:30, wherever it should be.
Say what I want to say.
Wherever it should be. That's all they're doing.
But we didn't come up here to get in no argument. We didn't come here to argue. We come here to hear the people. We tell them what we can do. That's what we come here.
That's why we're here. That's why we asked you.
April, I'm here.
I know you are, and I know you. And
I'm here as a bargaining employee.
Okay, but you
I'm
kind
not here.
of came in with an attitude too. Amen.
No, I'm here as a bargaining employee because whatever decision is made,
It affects
it
everybody.
affects everybody.
Okay, so let them have a chance to talk. You didn't want this meeting, but you don't get to ask every question. You came in with an attitude. Support your people.
All right, guys. Okay, all right.
By the way, I have the greatest respect, you know I told you that a million times. So, like I said, look, all unions are different. This is not something that we like looked for and said, oh, let's go do that. It's not. However, if there is some way to do this, if you want to go ahead with this, and you don't make that decision today, you need to, because look, as much as I told you what's in it for us, we think the two groups should bargain together.
It makes sense.
And, you know, if that was with ATU, cool. If it's with one union, cool. That's fine. That's what interests us, is because it's going to uplift workers. That's all I care about, is that workers need to actually decide and make decisions about the way they work, and they need to be paid a living wage, and they need everything else. So that's our interest in this. How we run things, they told you, this is how we do contracts, this is how we do grievances. It's like I said, it may or may not be different than what you have now, but that's the way we do things. It has to be by member input. It has to be, we have so many votes sometimes, it seems like it's ridiculous, but that's the way it has to be. You're under trusteeship now, it's not, and the trustee does run everything.
Thank you.
I understand trusteeship.
We noticed that.
But, you know, you're not gonna get me to say a bad word about ATU. All I'm saying is, this is how we do things. It may be similar, it may not. We get results mostly because, listen you guys, the reason we get results to a very large degree is because we work workers in the shop, we work neighbors in the community, and we use both of those to impact politics. It's the only way you can win big in Florida, because we can't do the things that workers in New York can do. And you all know I'm right about it. So we had to figure this out. We had to figure this out.
But you know what? When Vanessa was president, she said the same thing. It's all about politics.
It's all about politics.
She said that. You gotta have.
Julie, some people wasn't here when Vanessa was here, and they wasn't even part of the union when Vanessa was here. Whatever new now coming on, we need to let it go. When are we gonna come out of apprentice or whatever? Trusteeship, we're gonna stay in this thing forever? No, we're trying to solve it, some people are trying to hold up the air. Get rid of the old union and let's get something new, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Everything we're short, pay my money.
We got a misunderstanding here. We all a family here. Whatever, I'm talking, I'm a retired soon next year. In other words, I hear a lot of drivers telling me, Ronald, why are you wasting your time? You're living next year. That's the wrong attitude. When I retire, I want to see a bus driver from Hardline driving along my road, making good salary, making a good living. That's why I'm here. Now, the other thing is that 1 year, I'm not from another planet. I'm a human being like you guys. Okay, and I've been with ATU as a member. I was 20 years, and I withdraw for other issues financially. But I've been without ATU for 6 years. Nobody's going to fire you. Okay, so if they fire me for 6 years, that tactic is not going to work. Hotline will not fire you if you're doing your job. Because besides Hotline and the unions, we got the fair on the top. Why they haven't fired me?
For breathing.
Okay, but why? This is the thing. I'm not, but this is the thing here.
You get a little bit of both.
Yeah, but this is the thing, guys. If I'm here, if I'm still here, I'm not different than you guys. Once you do it, if it's a process, but he already told you that the process is not going to take that long if we make the decision. Now, about Hotline, you don't worry about Hotline, because I haven't worried for Hotline for 6 years. But I do my job, and that's it. They cannot fire you. You got the cameras, believe it or not, that help you. Because you do your job. Wait a minute. If you do your job, they cannot mess with you. Okay, because I've been going through a lot, and they can do nothing. Hotline cannot do anything. Okay, bye.
They're gonna assume that it says the other thing.
Darling, what I'm saying is that I'm not for another plan. If I do it,
Once that happens, then you need to
yeah, so once you do your job, it's fine. Now, the unions, like I say, it's better be with the union than with you. You know, and that's why we make a decision in the long run. We stay in the union. Now, listen, but the problem is, if you guys are like the ATU, and it can get better, Why not? Because we don't marry to a union. As long as it gets better, if it gets better with another union, why not switching another union?
But it's there,
You know what I
there's
mean?
no unity. We so divided, drivers telling those drivers and all.
And we decide to make
That's why we're here now, to get rid of.
Okay, look,
all of that divide.
You've been waiting to ask something. Hold on, you guys, somebody's been waiting.
It perpetrates all these years. Divide and conquer.
I'm
Go
just
ahead,
concerned
bro.
on one thing. When Hardline and any union go to a table, they bring the best weapon to the table
Yeah.
to go ahead with their agenda. I hear she says that she bring every face of the union.
Every piece
That's
of
a
it.
good, that's a good thing. But I didn't hear anything about a lawyer for anything.
Well, I actually was explicit about that.
Mhm.
We
Yep.
do not bring lawyers.
It was right before you came in, so.
Because the lawyers cost too much money.
It's not even that.
It's not
Nobody knows better than you. If we need a lawyer, we go to SEIU.
We get the lawyer. I mean,
99% of
but
the
you
time, we
don't at
need
the
a lawyer.
bargaining table. That lawyer does not know how you work.
Yeah, that's right.
That lawyer can't, people think that lawyers are somehow, they
Lawyers
don't learn how to
answer legal questions,
negotiate.
that's it. That's it. They don't know what you
But when
want.
we have a legal question, of course it's available. I've done arbitrations myself, win a bunch, but we also use lawyers in arbitration, depending on the complexity of it, right? So look, here's what I want to say before you start asking more questions. Because there has to be a point here where, not today, I'm gonna tell you, it is not today, because there's a meeting coming up, right? You guys expressed displeasure, right? You got an answer back. Is somebody new is here now? Or it said in the letter somebody new was coming?
Oh, Natalie Cruz came, or Perez, I mean.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about that, but here, I mean, it's clear they're trying to come to a contractual agreement, right? If the contract comes out to people and there's money in it, a lot of people would vote for it. If you vote for the contract, you're in, that's it, it's done, right? So that's why I think I don't need to, if you guys want to go for this, we'll go for this. But being honest and fair, there is a difference between us, it's pretty clear. But being honest and fair, check out and see what happens today. Then what I would propose to be, the process would be, we're gonna pass around a sheet of paper here, that then we need a committee that comes together, because you do have to, and this is because of the company, this is because of the employer, you need to get this stuff done fast, right? That if you were gonna put out cards, do it fast, so that process does not drag out. Because what would happen, if something is filed, then it's gonna take a month for it all to be processed. Then we got pretty good relations with PERP, so we could probably get an election. You know, they only have 2 people doing elections in the whole state. This is our great labor state. So it would be a process of about 3 months. Once the filing happens though, and this is, it could be a bad thing, it could be a good thing. Once the filing happens, that contract negotiations will probably stop. So downside, you do have to go and negotiate a new contract, that takes time. So I wanted to be very clear about all that.
Okay, so what if ATU does this contract? We sign off on it, the contract is there, and then we decide to go with you guys. Is that possible?
Nope.
Okay.
Once
So
the
we want
contract's
one
ratified,
That's what we're out of the.
Quick question.
So there may be something here to wait and see what's gonna happen. Or if something doesn't happen, it appears to me, you guys may know better, that they may be close at the table.
What I know is AT is still fighting for our retro.
So that is the issue.
That's the issue. We want 100% because it belongs to us. So
Yeah.
HART is in a position that they just wanted, first it was 30, now it's 50. We're still holding back. No, it's our money. So if we don't come together like we can today, HART's still gonna have their own position. No 50, no 30, whatever they wanna do. but we're still standing strong. No, we want 100% retro. That's our money that we worked. So.
But it's not all about money.
It's
It's
not
not all about money. It's about discipline, it's about the job, it's about your life, your future. But money will run out. Money will run out. Money is not gonna last.
Louis, we
Yeah, it's about the rest
we
of
had
the money.
negotiate our discipline. We had negotiate, and if you go to negotiation, actually, you will listen to what we had negotiated. You know, we put in the union board what we TA.
Yeah, but then you're on somewhere else. If you're on HART, and then you're on the E-board, then you're on the trailer.
Excuse me, if you come and ask us, oh Danny, did you close this article? Or Yolanda, or any of us, we will give you the right information. But no, all of us, I include myself, we are more of, oh, he said this. We don't actually go for facts. You know, go for facts. Go and ask. Ask me.
Somebody's saying the first person,
Danny,
the first person who updated is the gentleman right here. This gentleman was the first one who started putting and letting us know what's being teed up, what's not being teed up, and what's working. And why is it? Because somebody had to come from International. We brought them down here. We sent them to come down here
Which I agree.
to send.
Which I agree with. And
right after that,
and I
this
support
man
every
started
single
posting.
one of
And I appreciate
for
that.
that.
I appreciate for this gentleman letting us know what's being teed up, what's not being teed up, and what we're working on. That's all we needed from the get-go. Why do we have to go to this step level, to go into International, to go to a higher level, for them to send another IP down to find out what is going on here with this member?
I agree. Listen,
Why?
I'm 100% behind
So now,
you guys.
since she came down, now we have a report, now we have a meeting today.
Accident all along, and nobody been giving us any answers.
No communication, baby. No communication. That's all we want. That's all we want.
That is for the next meeting.
That's all we wanted. Communication.
I agree with you, Louis. I agree.
Well, here's what I want to say, because this is why we're all here. This is why we're all here. I'm glad to hear, I'm not glad to hear that that's the issue, but I can understand. That's a big deal. I don't know, in fact, you need a lot of leverage to win that. I don't know how that's gonna happen, but I'm not there. So, okay, guys, this is what I would, obviously, if you have more questions, please ask. But where this should end up today is that if you can't go to the meeting later today, understand that. Somebody should go and find out what's happening. And this is what I would say. I'm going to pass around a sheet here asking you to put only if, here's what I want, is that if we're going to get if this would happen, it is not a for sure thing, but the people that would seem to like this to happen, we will have an organizational meeting within a week or so. We will call you because I'm going to get your name, or email you and you get your name and your phone number.
Excuse me, can that meeting be posted for everybody? Because I was excluded from this meeting.
This one?
I can see why.
And I'm a marketing employee.
Danny, you were excluded from. You were excluded from this one?
You guys, so
Everybody was
this is what
invited.
we're going to do right now. Passing around this.
It was all over the place. I didn't get an invitation.
I'm going to pass around this sheet.
I didn't get an
This is
invitation.
not a meeting for 100 people. It's a meeting for people so we can determine, if you want to go ahead, how to do this in an organized fashion. Everything has to be done in an organized fashion and democratically. That's all.
My question is not to you guys. My question is to Yolanda and Miss Danny. There is a meeting that is going on at 1:30, and I do have to work today. And I have all of these witnesses here. I would like to know, when I approach one of you guys to find out what is actually going on, I would appreciate you not tell me, well, I cannot discuss it now. Or, wait a minute, Yolanda, wait a minute. I'm just saying, when I come to y'all, because there's several people I also speak to myself. And I speak to Keith as well, okay? And he has told me numerous times that he can't discuss it because it was told from Curtis that things should not be discussed. I can't get to the meeting, so I'm asking as you guys for ATU now, in front of this people, I would like to either see something in black and white to find out what are the negotiations, what have you come up with at the table, or where we at, and if I see you on the streets or relieving or at base, please do not tell me I can't discuss it, or I can't go into it because X, Y, and Z. I have a right to know I am paying union dues. And I think that's what a lot of people is angry about. Because you guys keep telling us, we can't discuss it now. We can't discuss it now.
Can I make a
Discuss it
suggestion?
now.
You're Facebooking this stuff, isn't it? Can't you Facebook your next meeting? That way for all to see?
It's posted
That's a
all
good
over.
idea. I mean, the next meeting.
We don't allow cameras.
No, for the people that can't come.
We don't allow cameras in there. First, last time we went, we didn't know no cameras.
You guys get union minutes?
Yeah.
Nope, not under trustee.
Stop lying.
Yes, we do.
When was the last meeting? Was our trustee at that meeting? Was our trustee at that meeting?
Last meeting, the books, if they don't provide it, that's a book.
There you go.
When was the last meeting?
The last meeting was the last report in June.
But last meeting was,
Right, I mean,
was
I
an
can't-
emergency meeting because there was a grievance.
You have
There
personal
was a-
issues with him, that's why you here.
Yeah.
I don't have
There,
personal issues
there,
with
there was
anybody.
a grievance process that needed to be approved by the members. We have certain limits time in our contract.
You sound like you're really against the possibility of switching to a union. Is that correct?
Because I know the process.
It doesn't matter what the process is.
And I would
If the
lose.
grass is greener on the other
But
side,
I would
wouldn't you be
lose.
open to it?
I would lose.
What would you lose?
And I would lose.
It's not about you, it's about everybody. So if everybody else wants that makes up the membership. It's not about you.
Okay. Can we move on?
Nothing's happening right now.
Can we move on?
Hey, hold on! I just wanna know, you just said the grass is green on the side.
If the grass is green.
If the grass is greener, could you just say, what's the difference between ATU and you guys?
They involve everybody.
I'm talking. Like I gave you the respect me. Okay? You can't tell me nothing.
All right, relax.
She said
I
it already.
can't say
I'm
it because I don't know
I'm not
what
talking
you
to
do.
you.
So I can't, we're not knocking you guys. But if the people think the grass is greener, and it may be, once you sit there and meet and weigh out the options, it may be. But don't be closed-minded, and I'm not saying you are, but I think she came in with a kind of attitude, and I know you're part of the other union, but just keep your ears open for the possibilities.
No, I have told you that I can't.
But we're not here to make you all do anything you don't want to do. We were called. They came to us.
Okay. Can I say one thing about this?
And everything's out in the open. We don't hide. We wouldn't have let you all in if we tried to hide something. Hey, but don't do this.
How many
Look, you guys,
how many
look,
transcripts?
you two are talking. I want to get everybody back here. Look, I gotta respect your time. It's a Saturday. Nobody really wants to be here. We're here out of necessity, right? So,
No, I want to be here.
well, good. But look, you guys, I want to respect and give you your time. I hope some of you go to the meeting. That sheet of paper is going around. We will call a meeting very soon. Make sure if you want to get involved in this, sign it up.
Perfect.
Look like you're trying to.
Everybody talks about money. There's one thing that I forgot to ask about. Union dues.
Union dues. I wondered when somebody was going to ask that.
How much are we paying if we switch over? What are our dues going to be? Are we going to?
Right, here's the right answer. Listen, you guys, dues.
trying to tell y'all something.
Knew somebody was going to. Dues are 1.56% capped at $40. Now, there can be exceptions to that. They got an exception, but that has to be voted on by the executive board of the local.
Okay, so what are
And
you?
then actually,
What are you guys paying
$25 a month.
a month? We're paying 24 a pay period plus $5 arbitration fees.
Well, see, even if you didn't get the exception, it's a capital.
We make sure what we pay.
40 a month.
Way less.
Okay.
And okay, a follow-up question for the dues. You said the dues go into not the local.
No, it is the local, but we have.
Yes,
chapters.
but not the chapter.
The dues go into a very, they'll testify to this, it's, look, how employers and how the government goes after unions, and the government does not like our union. Listen. How they go after you is on financial stuff. We have locked box, we have total, they get
It's a
frustrated.
pain in the ass to get a pencil. So
But
you have
they
to
get
go
the-
through a lot because they do everything above board for audits.
Because
And that's a good
governments
thing.
look at it.
We had.
One more question. One more
I
question.
don't like that. This is much better.
Union time, book of union time. Who is it oversight? Because ever since I started working for HART, 7 years now, coming in January, there's always been fighting, bickering about abuse of union time. It's going on now. It's been going on forever.
Let me tell you what we negotiated.
$1,600.
Let me tell you what we
That's 10
negotiated in
months of
our.
salary.
Let me tell you what we negotiated in our contract. It's been like that for probably about almost 10 years.
And yeah, that's
Anything that has to do with PSCA and the employee, PSCA pays for all off time. There's no reason to be paying these guys to get off the bus and be inefficient. That affects you and the company, PSCA pays.
That's on the table.
That keeps
It's on the table for us. It's on the table for us.
That keeps the corruption
We are
down.
fighting for that.
Well, we already got it. We've had it for 10 years. That's all I'm
Our
saying.
leadership before that,
They had it for 10 years, though.
10 years.
Hold on, is it over? Wait.
Sign the sheet, it's over here.
Then he's gonna call me.
Don't forget to sign, guys. Where's the thing? Right there. Do we, with you guys, are we able to, hey, you union president. Are we able to vote in who we want as a cabinet, as president?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We even had, we don't call it trustee, but we had temporary positions before the, you all had, our people have a say. They were gonna be, they were gonna have that now.